Greetings and salutations, dreamers in Dreamland. One more time. Greetings and salutations, dreamers in Dreamland. Welcome to the latest edition of Listen to Me. Welcome to December. Today is December 1st, 2021, the final month of 2021. And this is Listen to Me Volume 56. And let me tell you something right now. We've got some updates to the DreameLand Boxing pound for pound top 10. Look, George Kambosos Jr., congratulations again in his incredible victory this past weekend at the Madison Square Garden Theater here in New York, in Manhattan. Incredible victory, beating the shit out of Teofimo Lopez, taking all those titles, the WBA, WBO, IBF, Ring Magazine, and WBC franchise baloney fart title, but taking the other three major titles, the real titles, and becoming the man to beat, becoming the real man, the real champion of lightweight in men's boxing. Congratulations to George Kambosos Jr. Now, in doing so, he also gained a spot on the pound-for-pound list because Teofimo Lopez had dethroned a pound-for-pound sweetheart, Vasily Lomachenko, and he had gained a position on the pound-for-pound boxing list. The DreameLand Boxing pound-for-pound list, everybody's favorite boxing shaman, yours truly, yes, my pound-for-pound list did feature Teofimo Lopez. He was in at number 8, and let me tell you something, Teofimo Lopez was on the Ring Magazine pound-for-pound top 10 list. He was on many other, ESPN pound-for-pound top 10 list. Many other pound-for-pound top 10 lists. Teofimo Lopez was on there. And when you beat a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter, you get that top 10 pound-for-pound. You don't get his spot necessarily, but you gain a spot. You become a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter. That's just the way it works. Now, Teofimo Lopez, last time, we spoke about this particular subject. The last time, yours truly, The Dream, everybody's favorite boxing shaman, gave you the news and told all of you out there, all the dreamers in Dreamland, the DreameLand Boxing pound-for-pound top 10, Teofimo Lopez, he sat in at number 8. He sat in at number 8. Off of his accomplishments, beating Richard Comey and becoming the unified champion of the world by beating Vasily Lomachenko. He had a spot at number 8 as a lightweight unified champion of the world. And being that George Kambosos Jr. beat him and took all his championships, Teofimo Lopez is eliminated from the list, and George Kambosos is inserted in the list. He will be inserted at number 10. Quite simply put, Canelo Alvarez is number 1. Alexander Usyk, believe it or not, I still have him at number 2. As much as I love Terence Crawford, Alexander Usyk's recent accomplishment of becoming the world heavyweight champion, becoming unified champion after being the undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world, 2-division world champion, and beating everybody, all of his opponents, taking all those championships in somebody else's backyard, never having home field advantage. That's worth a lot in my book. And for right now, he still sits in at number 2. If you want to call him number 3, number 2A, number 3, really, realistically, I don't really like, 2A or tie bullshit. I'm not into that. So number 3, Terence Bud Crawford. He did just beat, Sean Porter, defend his WBO championship successfully. However, Sean Porter was not a champion at the time. It was not a unification. So while there is a strong victory on the resume of Terence Crawford, I can't really say it's stronger than what Alexander Usyk has done recently in his defeat of Anthony Joshua, and him taking the titles. So Crawford's in at number 3. Nonito Donaire is number 4. The Monster Inoue is number 5. Josh Taylor, number 6. Juan Francisco Estrada, number 7. Number 8, Charlo. 154-pound Charlo, unified champion of the world. He's going to get another crack at Brian Castano to be an undisputed champion at 154 pounds. That is supposedly going to happen early part of next year. Number 9, Kazuto Ioka, 4-division world champion from Japan, incredible fighter. And number 10, with his victory over Teofimo Lopez, we have the ferocious one, George Kambosos Jr. Welcome to the party, pal. Welcome to the jungle. Welcome to December. Welcome, George Kambosos Jr., unified champion of the world at 135 pounds, in at number 10. Yes, currently he is at risk more than any other fighter of losing his spot, being that he is in the 10th spot. However, I don't really see that happening in the foreseeable future. We'll see what happens, coming up before George Kambosos fights next. But as of right now, in at number 10, George Kambosos Jr., the unified champion of the world at 135 pounds, pound for pound, number 10. Now, there's one other thing I want to cover, Dreamers in Dreamland. There's one other thing that, everybody's favorite boxing shaman, yours truly, that I want to go over. And it's a fight that's coming up in February 19th, that features two guys that at one point, in their careers, they were, spoke of in a pound for pound light. They were definitely world champions in the past. And this is a fight that's taking place in the United Kingdom between two guys that fought in a, similar weight class for a very long time, but for whatever reason, they never crossed paths until now. This fight may be a little bit past its sell-by date. These guys are both definitely past their prime, and I'm not going to tell you that they are still in their prime because they're not. And I'm talking about Kell Brook and Amir Khan. They will be squaring off on February 19th. Now, I'm going to give you my pick for this fight right now. And the fight's going to take place at a catch weight, a contract. It's not going to be at a full 154 pounds or at 147 pounds. It's not at welterweight or junior middleweight. That's not the way this fight's going to work. It's going to be at 149 pounds. Now, this is very interesting because Kell Brook is a naturally bigger fighter. Had this fight taken place at 154 pounds, I would favor Kell Brook beyond any shadow of a doubt. But being that this fight will take place at 149 pounds, closer to 147 pounds, where Amir Khan is still very comfortable, you have to remember, Kell Brook basically started his career as a professional and won his world title at 147 pounds. Amir Khan won his world title at 140 pounds. That's a 7-pound difference. And Amir Khan, he started his career at a lower weight than Kell Brook. Kell Brook's a naturally bigger guy. Amir Khan does have the height and the reach, but Kell Brook definitely has the strength in this fight. But the strength of resume clearly goes to Amir Khan. The strength of best victory in their career clearly goes to Amir Khan. Look, both of these guys got the shit beat out of them by Terence Crawford. Both of them got washed by Terence Crawford. That's a fact. But Terence Crawford is the best 147-pound fighter in the world. He was the best 140-pound fighter in the world, and he was the best 135-pound fighter in the world. And Terence Crawford is, a pound-for-pound sweetheart. He's a top 3 guy. He has been pound-for-pound number 1 in the past in the world in boxing. And when he beat Amir Khan, Terence Crawford was the pound-for-pound king. He was number 1 in the world. When Terence Crawford beat Kell Brook, he was number 2, if not number 1, pound-for-pound fighter in the world. So both of these guys got the shit kicked out of them by Terence Crawford, but that's not what this is about. This is about these two guys fighting each other. Now, in the past, this fight was supposed to happen. And a lot of people in the United Kingdom wanted the fight to happen, but Amir Khan, of his own admission, of his own mouth, blocked the fight. He didn't want to give Kell Brook the time of day. He didn't want to give Kell Brook the quote-unquote big payday or the big spotlight. Now, Amir Khan, his resume is much deeper than Kell Brook's. Kell Brook's best victory is against Shawn Porter. That's the best victory on the resume of Kell Brook. Kell Brook got in there, he dared to be great and went up to 160 pounds and got his eye socket broken by, Triple G. Kell Brook also got, his other eye socket broken by Errol Spence Jr. So he's got, some decent victories, Shawn Porter being the best one. Amir Khan fought Marcos Maidana before Floyd Mayweather Jr. And I want to make a correction on a previous video. I did state in a previous video that Amir Khan stopped Marcos Maidana. That's not true. But what he did do was he knocked him down. He bounced him off the canvas. And that's something that in 2 full fights, Floyd Mayweather couldn't do with Marcos Maidana. In the 2 fights Marcos Maidana had with Floyd Mayweather Jr., he was never on the canvas. And in those 2 fights with Marcos Maidana, they were much closer than the Amir Khan-Marcos Maidana fight. Amir Khan made it much more clear. It was much clearer that Amir Khan beat Marcos Maidana, especially when it came to the first Marcos and Floyd fight. Now, I know styles make fights. I know you can't do a triangle theory and say that Amir Khan would have a good shot at beating Floyd Mayweather. Hell no. He wouldn't have a chance in fucking hell. Floyd Mayweather would destroy that guy. But what I'm telling you is that in the resume of Amir Khan, he's been in the ring and he's beaten Marcos Maidana. He's been in the ring and he's beaten Paulie Malignaggi. He's been in the ring and he's beaten Devin Alexander. He's been in the ring and he's beaten a past it but a Zab Judah, a world-class Zab Judah. A Zab Judah who at one time was a pound-for-pound sweetheart and was the last undisputed welterweight champion of the world. Very significant. Very significant. You know, Amir Khan also beat Marco Antonio Barrera. Yes, a very past it, very old Marco Antonio Barrera, but Amir Khan beat the shit out of that guy. Amir Khan also beat the shit out of Chris Algieri. Chris Algieri, who still to this day, fights at a world level. Still to this day, Chris Algieri fights at a world level. He's going to be fighting Conor Benn shortly, in the month of December. And I'm looking forward to that fight. And it's going to be a great fight. I know that's going to be a great fight. And listen, Chris Algieri, if you're not focused, he'll beat you. He will. So, first and foremost, I hope Conor Benn is prepared. But listen, these are the names on Amir Khan's resume. The guys that he's been in the ring with and the guys that he's beaten. All right? And at the end of the day, Amir Khan at 149 pounds, I think he's going to beat the shit out of Kell Brook. And I'm going to pick Amir Khan to beat Kell Brook by stoppage. Look, Amir Khan, he was in the ring with Terence Crawford, and he did go down in the first round. But as the fight wore on, Amir Khan had limited success. I'm not saying that he hurt Terence Crawford, but he hit Terence Crawford, and he hit Terence Crawford with some clean right hands. He hit Terence Crawford more than Kell Brook did. That's a fact. Yes, Amir Khan decided to grab his balls and fall like a total fucking loser. But while he was in there, he fared a little bit better than Kell Brook did, in my opinion. And Kell Brook, I don't think he has any punch resistance left. And Amir Khan has hand speed. And at 149 pounds, I think Amir Khan is more comfortable at that weight. And he'll be stronger at that weight and more comfortable in his skin at that weight. Kell Brook at 149 pounds at this stage of his career, at this age, is going to be weight drained. He's going to be drained. No question about it. And I think Amir Khan will probably stop Kell Brook with his hand speed. I think you'll see Amir Khan knock Kell Brook down, and I think you'll see Amir Khan with a nice flurry of punches. I think you'll see a referee stoppage. I want to say somewhere in the third quarter. Somewhere between, I believe it's going to be a 12-round fight, and if it's going to be a 12-round fight, I'll say somewhere between rounds 7 or 8. I'll say most likely round number 8. That's when you'll see Amir Khan stop Kell Brook. But Dreamers in Dreamland, welcome to George Kambosos. Welcome to the jungle, George Kambosos. Welcome to the DreameLand Boxing Top 10 pound-for-pound list. Congratulations again. And Dreamers in Dreamland, it's been a pleasure. Yours, mine, and ours. And whether you're a fan, fam, friend, foe, frenemy, or fucking asshole, I got nothing but love for you. Peace!